Tonight, a mob boss's grandson behind bars. Carmine Gotti Agnello convicted of fraud in a COVID relief scheme that netted over $1 million. His grandfather, John Gotti, was the head of the Gambino crime family. So how did Agnello try to avoid prison?
Your thoughts are you're going to spend year over year in prison.
That's all right. Things could be worse.
The grandson of one of the most notorious gangsters in New York City, becoming the 16th member of his family to go to prison. Carmine Gotti Agnello pleading guilty to COVID relief fraud, lying on applications for financial relief, and raking in about $1 million in loans.
His life has been wrecked, I would say, over the last few years due to his own actions.
Victoria Gotti, the daughter of mob boss John Gotti, making an appearance at her son's sentencing on Long Island. The legal troubles of Carmine now shining a renewed spotlight on his family and their ties to crime, a dynasty built by blood and betrayal.
The violent death of Paul Castellano brings back to vivid life an old tradition in the history of this country, gangland executions.
Back in the 70s and 80s, the streets of New York City were ruled by 5 families.
The leaders of the 5 families are all dons or godfathers, and they all are permanent members of the Mafia Commission, and they together divide up the spoils. They figure out which families, which crews, which groups of the Mafia will control what industries or parts of industries.
At the center of the Gambino family, John Gotti, the mafioso, the dapper Don, seizing leadership after orchestrating the brazen hit on Paul Castellano, the former head of the family.
Paul Castellano was on his way to dinner. He didn't even make it to the hors d'oeuvres.
He ascends to the throne of the Gambino family, at the time perceived to be the most prominent, the biggest, the most influential, the most powerful of the 5 families of the New York City Mafia. And he steps out from the shadows in a way that none of his predecessors ever did. He basically becomes the leader of the Mafia.
According to authorities, at the height of his power, Gotti stood as one of the most dangerous and feared crime bosses in the United States. The press bestowing on him the moniker Teflon Don for his ability to avoid prison countless times, with the FBI saying he used methods like witness intimidation and jury tampering.
The Mafia is notorious for its colorful nicknames. In the case of John Gotti, the nickname that he got was for getting off. They could not put him away.
Nothing had stuck to the Teflon Don until today.
Until 1992, when his crimes caught up with him.
1992, John Gotti is finally convicted, but nobody really thought this was going to happen. So finally he gets charged with racketeering and a series of murders. In this case, they ended up having wiretaps. They had people who turned on Gotti.
In a stunning betrayal, Sammy Gravano, or Sammy the Bull, Gotti's right-hand man who carried out multiple murders on behalf of the kingpin, breaking the Mafia's code of silence to testify against his former boss.
When Sammy the Bull turned on John Gotti, it was, first of all, an unbelievable bursting of a balloon, because in the public's mind, Gotti's people would never turn on him. They were loyal to him, and that really not only comes from Gotti himself, but from this long-standing, ironclad, fundamental rule inside the Mafia of omerta: silence.
Gravano later telling ABC News in 1997 his thoughts on Gotti.
And I realized that John probably eventually would take me out for no other reason but he wants one show, one boss, John Gotti.
John Gotti passed away from throat cancer in 2002 behind bars, a world away from the tough, gritty scenes that he and his associates oftentimes lived and died by.
People in the Mafia, looking back, those people either in organized crime or near organized crime that think back to those days in a positive way, they look back at Gotti as being the last of the great dons, the last of the great leaders.
Gotti's name forever living on through his family, their glamorous lives highlighted on reality TV, like Growing Up Gotti, featuring his daughter Victoria and her 3 sons, including Carmine.
I guess when we fought, maybe we took it a little too, extreme. We don't fight now. We're all close, like best friends, brothers, everything.
Victoria and her family's legacy taking center stage again in the show Mob Wives.
When somebody gets to that level, that's it. They need to be reined in. Women should build each other up. I find that in my circle, people act the way that I allow them to act.
Anything you want to say?
As for Carmine Gotti Agnello, a judge sentencing the 40-year-old to 15 months in prison and ordering him to pay nearly $1.3 million in restitution.
This isn't something he's proud of. He's sickened by his actions, but he also is hopeful for the future.
Carmine is expected to surrender himself to authorities in July. His lawyers originally asking for a sentence without prison time, saying Carmine hopes to donate his kidney in the coming months to save his mom.
I don't think any of us knows what's going on inside Agnello's mind or Victoria's medical situation or what the lawyers are thinking, but it wasn't lost on observers that this had some whiff to it, that it might have been a Teflon Don move.